Howdy everyone, Darcy here, and today we'll be looking at Ultimate Racing 2D on Nintendo Switch. Ultimate Racing 2D is a 2D top-down racing game like many others on the platform. However, the one thing that made me more interested in it was how many different cars it claimed to have, with 45 tracks, 35 classes, and over 300 different cars, which for a simple 2D racer is kind of impressive, I think. You can race in up to 20 car races as well as adjust the number of laps. As for difficulty, you can have the AI range from a 0 being very easy all the way up to 120 being ultimate. I started off at 50 medium, which actually turned out to be a bit too difficult as I wasn't prepared for how the cars handled and thus finished last place, but I'll get into that when we talk about controls. So besides difficulty, you can change weather and tire wear as well as enable boosting. So before I get onto gameplay and such, I'll go over the available game modes real quick. There's career that contains event, season, and coin mode. In career, you use coins earned to purchase new cars, and the higher the difficulty of the events, the higher the coins you earn. Going back out of career, there's championship mode where you add multiple tracks to the event. Then there's quick race where you select a class, vehicle, and track and then just race. And finally, we have local multiplayer that supports up to 8 players on one system. So we've already established that there's a pretty good amount of content in the game, so let's talk about performance and gameplay. It being a 2D racer and all, there's not much to say for performance as it runs just fine as expected, so let's talk about controls. Like I mentioned earlier, I had a bit of difficulty with the controls. The turning felt a little tight, but I think that could be factored in more by the bigger thing that bothered me, the braking. When it comes to braking, it just feels like the brakes don't kick in fast enough, so I was always hitting walls, which always left me in last place save for a few races. Now, braking is doable, it just felt like I never knew when to actually do it without hitting the wall or slowing down too soon and getting passed by everyone else. The game did claim to have realistic physics, which it does seem to do pretty well. I was never the best at simulation racers, but I've always managed at least. But this game doesn't feel like it has as much leniency for players that prefer arcade style compared to other sim racers. And I do get the fact that it is a 2D racer and you don't exactly see a whole lot of simulation style 2D racers. The only other thing I could mention about difficulty is that even when it's set to 0, the AI still seemed to play just as competitively as before. So overall, the game, while tough to learn, is definitely learnable, and it has a lot to offer for what seems to be a simple game. And while I haven't played too many 2D top-down racers, this is one of the higher quality ones I've played. Besides the difficulty, the only other complaint I have is that the game is quiet as hell. To even hear the cars, you have to turn your volume up a bit more than other games. And before that, I didn't even realize the game had music. It was that quiet. But once you can actually hear the cars, you'll be satisfied with the variety of sounds based on which car you're driving. So in the end, you have a kind of difficult to learn but content-packed 2D racer that might be worth checking out. So if you want the game yourself, it's available on the eShop for $10. I'd like to thank Applazing for sending me the review key. This is Darcy on the Game Clips channel, and I'm out.